All right, today we're diving into a really fascinating story about a key player in one of the world's most dynamic and fastest-growing economies. This is all about the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry, the FBCCI. It's a story about massive potential, some pretty big problems, and most importantly, a potential roadmap for a major comeback.
So, this quote right here, this is the FBCCI's own mission statement, and it is a huge one. Bangladesh is aiming to become a trillion-dollar economy, and the FBCCI sees itself as the engine that's going to help get it there. But how does an organization like this actually help a country hit such an incredible goal?
Well, this slide really gets to the heart of what a top-tier business chamber is supposed to be. It's not just a club for networking lunches, it's a policy engine. Think of it as a machine that takes all the real-world, day-to-day problems and opportunities that businesses face and turns them into smart, effective government policy.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the FBCCI, let's just set the stage here. What does a really great national business chamber actually do? What's the gold standard we're measuring against?
A really high-performing chamber is basically juggling three crucial jobs at once. First, it's that policy engine, right? Using hard data and solid research to shape government reforms. Second, it's a coordination platform, making sure all the right business leaders are talking to each other and to the government. And third, it's a trade expansion platform, actively helping its members go out there and win on the global stage.
Okay, so with that ideal framework in our heads, let's turn to the star of our show today, the Federation of Bangladesh Chambers of Commerce and Industry, or the FBCCI.
And on paper, wow, the FBCCI has a massive job. It's supposed to do everything from advising the government and conducting economic research to settling business disputes and leading trade missions overseas. I mean, it is designed to be the central nervous system for the entire private sector of Bangladesh.
And here's a number I want you to just lock in your brain for a second. 80. The FBCCI has an 80-member board of directors. That is a huge number for any governing body. And trust me, that detail is going to become very, very important a little later on.
But here's the turn. Despite this crucial mission and its impressive size, there's a growing feeling that the FBCI has seriously lost its way. A pretty powerful critique has started to emerge, suggesting the whole organization just isn't living up to its potential anymore.
And this quote from our source material is just unforgettable. Business consultant MD Janal Ebdeen described the FBCCI as a dead elephant, a giant, powerful-looking creature that's just not moving, not effective anymore. It's such a striking image of an institution that's become stagnant.
So what happened? How does an organization with such an important job end up with a reputation like that? Let's unpack the diagnosis and look at the key failures.
The analysis points to basically a perfect storm of problems. It wasn't one thing, it was a bunch of interconnected issues. Representation capture meant that the board didn't really represent the whole economy. Then politicization meant that internal power struggles became more important than national economic strategy. A secretariat weakness meant they just didn't have the expert staff to produce top-notch research, which hurt their credibility. And finally, governance instability made any kind of long-term planning basically impossible.
But here's the thing. The FBCCI's problems don't exist in a bubble. All around the world, there are shining examples of business chambers that are absolutely crushing it, driving real, tangible economic progress. So what can we learn from them?
Well, let's look at a few. Over in India, you've got FBCCI. It's a research powerhouse. Its secret is giving the government credible, data-driven advice that's just too good to ignore. In Turkey, TOBB is a model of democratic governance, making sure its leaders are accountable to their members, not to politicians. And in Brazil, Apex Brazil has turned trade promotion into a science, using a super professional, data-backed approach to help companies win new business abroad.
So when you put them side by side like this, the contrast is, well, it's pretty stark. The FBCCI has been criticized for being politicized and sending out one-off trade missions. The global best practice, it's all about democratic accountability and building systematic, results-driven programs. The path forward is actually pretty clear.
And that brings us to the really exciting part, the solution. The source material for this explainer doesn't just point out the problems, it lays out a detailed, actionable blueprint for bringing the FBCCI back to life.
Now, this isn't a quick fix. It's a deliberate, 3-year process. The first 6 months are all about stabilizing things and rebuilding some trust. The next year is for deep, fundamental reform. And the final phase is about locking in those changes so they stick for the long haul.
The plan starts with some quick wins to build momentum. Things like a policy triage desk to immediately start tackling businesses' most urgent problems, a tax and customs help desk which show immediate real value to members, and something as simple as publishing board attendance records that sends a huge signal that a new era of accountability is here.
Then, in the next phase, you get to the root of the problems. This means reforming the board to get politics out of it. It means shrinking that 80-member board down to something more manageable and effective. And it means a radical commitment to transparency by digitizing everything and setting clear goals for every committee.
And the long-term vision here is a total transformation. The goal is to change the FBCCI from an event platform, a place for photo ops and handshakes, into a true national institution, professional, accountable, and built to last.
So, after all this talk about institutional reform, let's zoom out. Why does the fate of this one organization matter so much for the future of Bangladesh? Because at the end of the day, a revitalized FBCCI isn't just good for business. It's about creating a clear, effective communication line between the people who actually run the economy and the people who write the laws. When that line works well, you get better policies, more jobs, and a stronger economy for absolutely everyone.
And this brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? That ambitious trillion-dollar journey. Hitting a goal that big isn't just about growth. It requires strong, capable, and effective institutions to lead the way. So we're left with this huge question. The roadmap for reform exists. The economic stakes couldn't be higher. But can this dead elephant truly be revived to help power Bangladesh's future? The answer is going to have a massive impact on the country's economic destiny. Hopefully, this has given you a much clearer picture of what's really at stake.